Hi, it's me, Bill Patton, and I'm a senior contributor with Sports Ed TV and a catalyst for the Evolutionary Sports Collective. And I'm with master tennis professional David Smith, who is the author of High School Tennis Coaching Mastery and his other mastery books. And it's really a pleasure to be able to go through this with you, Dave. But we're going to talk in this video about closing practice, which is really an important thing because closure is a really important psychological concept. So putting an end to something well, but then also giving people something to take home in their mind with them. So what I do is I have my timers on my watch for everything, or, I'll have it on my phone that, there's an alarm going off telling me, okay, do the ball pickup so that you have the 3 minutes left at the end of practice to do the closure thing. So with 3 minutes left, everybody's at the basket and we go around and we say, all right, did you have fun today? Because sometimes it's not that fun. And I want to hear, did you have fun or not? And don't lie to me about it. If you didn't have fun, just say you didn't have fun. It's okay. But I want to know if they have fun or not. And I'm really looking at them to see if they're really sincerely telling me the truth or not. And if not, then I got to dig into that. Then what we do is we'll go around and we'll say, all right, tell me what your biggest takeaway was today, right? And it's okay if you have the same answer as somebody else. It's all right. But I want to kind of get 3 different answers. And then a funny thing happens. They'll say it, but they might not say it the right way. So that gives me a chance to clear something up. It's like, hey, great answer, and I just want to add a little something to that because, your answer, I like what you said, but the way you said it was maybe not as clear as it needs to be. So yes, that's true. And keep in mind this. And then what it does, it allows me to clear up a misconception, affirm them for having an answer and being right about something, but also clear up a misconception. And then because the players are hearing from their peer, and then they're hearing me affirm them, and then they're also hearing clarifying information, then they're getting a lot more out of the educational experience of practice for the day.
I think and opening the door for them to be able to respond to a question or have an opportunity to articulate what they may feel or they learn, because others may be fearful of saying something just because they're not as comfortable speaking in a group setting, but they're like, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But we always close our practices, as I mentioned earlier. Obviously, nobody goes home early. We always do team drills, either team volley drills. We'll serve for 10 minutes at the end of practice, which some people forget how important the serve is, and then bring everybody together. We may do some blood and guts or something really to finish off, and then bring everybody back together for one last team discussion or talk about what's tomorrow like, what are we ready for. Don't forget, one thing I think coaches need to remember is kids have to remember academics are critical. And so make sure you remind your kids, go home, get your homework done. If you fail a class, you fail this team. And if you fail this team, and you can't play when it's critical time, or you don't qualify for region or state because of academics, which we don't have that problem a lot with tennis, but occasionally, you need to remind those kids, it's part of the responsibility of being on this team to academically maintain their grades. So that's a little closure item as well to remind them, hey, go home and do a good job on your homework. Get a good grade in your class so that we don't have to worry about when the quarter ends and you're not eligible anymore because you got an F in the class.
Right.
So something like that. Just little things to remember what's important to you.
I have a couple more things since you spurred me on there. But another thing is I like to ask them, what was your favorite part of practice today? And then another thing that comes up is you might have, Bridget or Jason, and they always answer everything all the time. And so you might have to go, okay, hey, Bridget, give somebody else a chance, right? Jason, pipe down for a second, right? Because they're always the first to answer. They might answer multiple times, but you want to hear from more people and you want to draw out some of the less, some of the introverted players to be able to hear from them. So don't let, one or a few kids dominate that every day. And then your thing about homework, when, this is part of the reason why I'm generally having 2-hour practices, but at some schools I've had 1.5-hour practices because those kids don't have the capacity to work for that length of time without being exhausted and then being worthless when they get home. So be mindful of that. Maybe your kids aren't very well trained, so don't take them past their limit. And it also plays into another thing, is that sometimes there are decisions that are made at matches that would prolong the match. I mean, sometimes you have the option to do a 10-point tiebreaker in lieu of a third set, and you can get all of your kids home 45 minutes sooner. Do it. So sometimes you have to make some decisions that might compromise the immediate experience of one player, but your whole team benefits. So think about those multipliers of kid hours, that will be affected. On the other hand, sometimes your kids need to see a kid playing a full third set as an educational experience. So I don't have a hard and firm answer on that, but I tend to be very conservative and wanting the kids to get home as soon as possible so that they don't get home exhausted, not able to do their homework.
And that's a great point. Obviously, how you condition your players and organize their time. We teach a lot of time management, and remind kids to, I don't know a kid probably today who doesn't go home and play a video game for X amount of hours or half hour, whatever, or whatever their parents allow, or watch TV or whatever. So, I mean, I've never had that situation, but you got to be cognizant of it for sure. And the last thing I'll say is make your practices dynamic and fun, because you want those kids to want to be back the next day. And this video is just a short one of our warm-up, this extra warm-up, but we oftentimes will do it at the end of practice, where we do a Zumba class to music. And having music, and we haven't talked about this because I don't know if you do it, Bill, but we have big speakers that we hang on the fence. And during certain points, sometimes I don't want music because I want them to hear me or they're focused, but sometimes during a warm-up, the kids love it. It inspires them sometimes. And obviously doing something like this as a team brings them together as well. So those are some things that and we'll probably come up with a few more items as we go through this program that we do or we've seen other coaches do very successfully. So those are some of the things at the end of your practice that will help solidify them, keep them as a team, and make them want to be back the next day working that much harder.